Hello to everyone gathered for the Youth Service Bureau's third annual gala. I think you know I'd much rather be there with you in person, but there's just a few things going on right now, so I'm honored to join you via video. I know you have a terrific group there tonight with philanthropists, business leaders, community leaders, and elected officials, as well as families served by the Youth Service Bureau, including tonight's impressive youth speaker, Sydney Isaacson. I wish I was there to listen to Sydney's speech, and thank you for helping her change her life. You support students like Sydney and the Youth Service Bureau. You're truly making a difference in the lives of kids and teens, one family at a time. And of course, I'd like to recognize tonight's keynote speaker, Darcy Hager-Slavin, for the incredible work she's doing to raise awareness about mental health issues and encourage young people to open up, teaching them that it's okay not to be okay all the time. I don't need to tell you that young people today face a whole host of new challenges. Previous generations faced the issues, of course, of underage drinking and some drug use. But today's young people face added 21st century challenges like cyberbullying, like human trafficking, which is also related to drugs. And the kind of support and counseling you provide has never been more important. By giving kids and their families the opportunity to discuss challenges they face and develop strategies to resolve problems, you're helping to address these problems and enable these kids to make better choices. Young people, particularly those who can have addiction problems, need this help. You know, before I was elected to the Senate, I spent 8 years serving as Hennepin County attorney. Drug cases made up about 1/3 of our caseload, and I was able to see firsthand the devastating impacts of chemical dependency. Unfortunately, many of those now affected by addiction are youth. Youth drug use can put a person at risk for a lifetime. 90% of Americans who meet the medical criteria for addiction started smoking, drinking, or using other drugs before age 18. That's why this early intervention is so important, including for mental health. Unfortunately, we haven't always recognized the importance of mental health care. And we have seen, by the way, in just 15 years, a 30% increase in suicides, including major suicide increase in the LGBT community, in the veterans community, in the farmers community. So that kind of early intervention and hotlines, getting people help, is really important. You know, one of my great mentors, Paul Wellstone, once said, politics should be about improving people's lives. And he had a passion for those struggling with mental illness because he had grown up in a home where he had seen his brother Stephen's traumatic descent into mental illness. In college, his brother suffered a severe mental breakdown and spent the next 2 years in hospitals. Eventually he recovered and graduated from college with honors, but it took his parents years to pay off the hospital bills. Paul would always talk about that when he grew up, his house was dark because no one wanted to talk about mental illness back then because it had so much stigma. So for years, he fought for funding for better care when he got to the Senate, mental health parity, to basically tell the insurance companies, hey, mental illness should be treated the same as physical illness. And in 2008, sadly after he died, we finally passed the Paul Wellstone and Pete Domenici Bipartisan Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act. The bill requires insurance companies to treat mental health as an equal basis with physical illness. This was a fight that's a matter of civil rights. It was for Paul, it was for me, and we still have to get that bill implemented. We know we have work to do, but thanks to the kind of work you're doing on the front line and the way you allow people to build trust in accomplishments and in actually interventions that work, we have gotten things done. But I'm going to need your help as we move forward because I'm going to continue to be a leader given my personal story of my dad being an alcoholic and having 3 DWIs and finally being pursued by grace and being able to basically stop drinking after decades of struggling with it. I literally saw him climb to the highest mountains and sink to the lowest valleys because of his addiction. But in the end, his faith, treatment, good treatment, his family around him, and community volunteers like all of you, that's what made the difference. and he got his life together. And today he's 91 and in assisted living. And as he said to me, it's kind of hard to get a drink here. But in truth, he hasn't been drinking for decades, and his AA group still visits him in assisted living. That is Minnesota. That is supporting each other. So thank you for all you are doing. Keep up the good work. Enjoy the evening. You deserve it.